You're tuned in to Vibration Frequency, vibrationfrequency.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Vibration Frequency. Feel the vibe. Reaching out to the four corners of the globe and broadcasting to you live from the studios of Vibration Frequency. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another live episode of the world's only show that truly explores the global impact of cannabis. This is The Marijuologist, and I'm your humble host, Richard Carr. We got a great show lined up for tonight, and I want you to stay tuned. In the meantime, in between time, we're going to play some sweet, sweet reggae music to get you in the mood while I await the arrival of my esteemed colleague, Ecor the Wolf. He's in traffic right now. If you've ever been to L.A., you know what that's like. But don't go away. We'll be right back. We got a really great show lined up. Let me just give you a hint of who we're going to have on the show tonight. Mr. Michael Norville will be joining us. Mr. Donnie G, all the way from Philadelphia, live via Skype, will be joining us in the studio. And, of course, myself and my esteemed colleague, Ecor the Wolf. Our topic tonight, you don't know weed. Tonight, you're going to learn. You're going to learn tonight. So stay tuned. It's going to be a live show right here in the studios of Vibration Frequency. It's The Marijuologist. In the meantime, enjoy some sweet, sweet reggae music. We'll be right back. Yeah, sin.
He give me inspiration in music, man. International. So that is why I can refuse it, man. International. My brethren, I love it and I love it, man. International. They spend my life is not bucket, man. International. Rastafari, Selassie, fire. May I tell you something? Listen. It's good for meditation, man. The international, and it's away from creation, man. The international. Even the doctor know about it too. International. Scientists that know about it, man. International. Take a draw and you don't dub it, man. International. But if you go up to Africa, you will see it, man. International. Run on by England and we see it too. International. Colombia is standing Robbie Ball too. International. Run up clear. I tell you, boy. May I tell you something? Why you Why you accuse me? Why you oppress me? Why you oppress me? Why you oppress me? Why you accuse me? Rastaman need it. They need it. Doctor need it. Yes, they need it. President need it. Yes, they need it. Royal family need it. Yes, fire. He's good for meditation, man, the international herb. It make I feel so groovy, man, the international herb. It give me inspiration in music, man, international herb. In music, man. This man, my life is not bucket, man, international herb. Take it from and you done dub it, man.
Yes, yes, yes. It's DJ Lorette.
Well, I'm so
Baddest motherfucking sound of God. Play like a music.
Go down in the valleys, only the highest grade. My burn down in the chalice, kick back in my palace. I'm the real herbalist. Lots of laughs, burn more than plenty smoke. Lots of earth from Jamaica to Germany. The highest of the grade. My burn down in my chalice, keep your conscious mentally good for your individually. Lots of earth, smoke. Lots of earth from Jamaica to Miami. The highest of the grade. My burn down in the chalice, keep your conscious mentally good for your individually. Smoke by the liars, doctors and journalists. Herbs scenting on me clothes, the aroma can't vanish. We the dicker, we have it, the authorities can't stand it. Herb planet, I make me shoot them can't ban it. Herb and me sacrament it and me tonic. Lots of herbs, go down in the valleys. The highest of the grade, me burn down in the chalice. Kick back in on my palace, I'm the real herbalist. Lots, burn more than plenty smoke. Lots of herbs from Jamaica down to Cali. Highest of the grade, me burn down in the chalice. Keep your conscious mentally good for your individually. Lots of herbs. Burn lots of herbs. Go down in the valleys. The highest of the grade, burn down in the chalice. Keep your conscious mentally good for your individually. Lots of herbs. Herb island, so why Babylon lock me up, you tell me. For one split, plus 2 senses, so catch me them now no leniency. For he or she and them not stop me, so serious smuggle 100p. Me want 100p for that journey. To talk to master, just me fly the case early. Bounce all those cold kids from us, the wave and river line. On them when them see that fire. Babylon run now when them smell herb fire. Bounce all those crack pies from out of the way when herb line. On them when them see that fire. Herb here just come off a fire. Lots of herbs go down in the valleys. The highest of the grade, me burn down in the chalice. Kick back in on my palace, I'm the real herbalist. Lots, burn more than plenty smoke. Lots of herbs from Jamaica down to Cali. Lots of herbs. Smoke lots of herbs from Jamaica to Germany. The highest of the grade, the burn down in the chalice. Keep your conscious mentally good for individually. Lots of herbs, yeah. Cigar did not give me it, give me your cancer. Herb are the answer, beginning up all planters. Singers and players of instrumental chanters. Humanize him from marijuana. Music I play herb, I want from the corner. Rock it and me ship it and send it to Botswana. I told me a puff and call it, but me not shot.
Herb tree grow like flowers on me yard. Till them say, why Papa Jesse are the real herb lord. Let me bun the ganja real hard. Bad things happen and me can't bother ball. And me say me can't take the moderation none at all. So me bun the ganja real hard. Me got herb in a me chalice vibes, herb in a me tea, herb in a me system, chemically free, organically, medically proven to be the perfect solution, the whole remedy. Me say indoor, outdoor, tell the farmer plant more, legalize the herb for the people them poor. Hot full of herb up a hilltop of one tour, herb stick that's way all about on the floor. Herb grow like flowers on me yard. Tell them say why Papa Tessie are the real herb. Lord say me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard. Bad things happen and me can't bother ball. Tell them say me can't get the frustration none at all. So me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard. Herb happy bun, chalice happy life. Can't get the herb we no have no appetite. Babylon just right past funny bike. Nah, that's when me weed for me no say that no right. Them can't lock me up it because a big fight. Me nah go a jail not even for a night. Them kill Peter touch him and the real sacrifice. Rasta man about the herb and all a height. Herb tree grow like flowers on me yard. And them say why Papa Tessie are the real herb. Lord tell me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard. Bad things happen and me can't bother ball. Tell you say me can't take the frustration none at all. So me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard. Want some herb now to free my mind. Love that blood, to is that to burn. Babylon system not so fine. You will search, you'll never find. Only the herb that good herb every time. Pick up that dirt, put that seed, air and water and the sunshine. Herb tree grow like flowers on the yard. Till them say why Papa Tessie are the real herb. Lord say me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard. Bad things that me can't bother bad. But me say me can't take the botheration none at all. So me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard. Me got herb in a me chalice vibes, herb in a me tea, herb in a me system, chemically free, organically, medically proven to be the perfect solution for all remedy. Me say indoor, outdoor, tell the farmer plant more, legalize the herb for the people them poor. But full of herb up a hilltop of one pure, herb stick that's way all about on the floor. Herb grow like flowers on me yard. Till them say why Papa Tessie are the real herb. Lord say me bun the ganja, bun the ganja, bun the ganja real hard.
Yes. It's DJ Lares, the baddest motherfucking sound in town. What am I talking about? Play reggae music for them all night long. DJ Lares, Ash, my boy.
Whoa, yeah. Whoa, yeah. Earthman, you know, sister man, a earthman. Me prefer stay upon the straight and the narrow. Me nah go round no curve, man. No. Earthman, you know, sister man, a earthman. Me prefer stay upon the straight and the narrow. Me nah go round no curve, man. No. Heights, man, a heights and a
I've unmuted my mic.
and I
Yeah.
saw the herbs every day. Babylon won't come lead us astray. And I say it's not okay. You know what? We swore the earth and all the ice and free ourselves from pollution. All they want us to do is living a confusion. Earthman, you know system and a earthman. Me prefer stay upon the straight and the narrow. Me nah go round no curve, man. No. Earthman, you know system and a earthman. Me prefer stay upon the straight and the narrow. Me nah go round no curve, man. No. Me smoke my herbs and whole of ice, 'cause it's a sacramental thing. Me smoke my herbs and whole of ice, and hail Rastafari the king.
Ja, yeah, man. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to tonight's live episode of the world's only show that explores the global impact of cannabis. This is the Marijuologist. And to the chagrin of all of my lady fans, I will not be on camera tonight. And I know that upsets you, but fear not, my sisters. I will be back on camera one day. Anyway, welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, I'm Richard Carr, and I am joined, as always, by my esteemed colleague, who is not here quite yet. Well, let me let you see what's going on here. Let me give you that real quick. Boom. So, yeah, that's what's happening in the studio right now. We're missing Ecor the Wolf, and we are missing our guest, Michael Norville, who will be joining us live tonight in the studio. But in the meantime and in between time, I am not without guests. Appearing on our show in his regular role as our CBD expert, I have my good friend of many, many years, and I got to tell you, man, I really dig this cat. He is most knowledgeable and has taught me many things here in just the past few weeks about CBD, and is in fact beginning to change my beliefs and mindset about CBD. I want to welcome Mr. Donnie G, all the way from Philadelphia, IA.
Thank you.
Backed by popular demand, Donnie G, welcome back to the show, my brother.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here with you always, as you well know. Good to see you as always, and it's great to be here on the Marijuologist.
You can see me. Unfortunately, I can see you, and you can see me, but they can't see me on screen. But that's okay. I didn't shave today, and I'm not wearing my wardrobe flaked out on me. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Wardrobe. I don't know what's wrong with these kids today, but they flaked out on me, so I don't have the benefit.
I don't know what's wrong with them either, but I concur with you wholeheartedly. I think it's the mumble rap.
Say word. All right, so Donnie G has joined us maybe 3 or 4 times here live on the air with us via Skype. He's all the way in Philadelphia. He is our resident CBD expert, as we've designated him. And I like his commentary and his perspective on what's going on in the cannabis business, and mostly because it's in a different city. And it is a place that I am familiar with. I am born and raised in Philadelphia. I am a transplant to Los Angeles, California. I'm not ashamed to say. But Donnie's still there. And Don, I know that you have a unique perspective on cannabis because of your many, many years of advocacy. Okay, let me just keep it real. Your many years of cannabis use.
Absolutely.
Right. And you're also now managing a CBD store, which is a non-get-high store, meaning that people can come into that store and avail themselves of the medicinal side of cannabis without the worries or concerns about the psychoactive effects. I think that's the next great thing in cannabis. And also without worry about that being tracked if you get tested for drugs or whatever. Now, we all know that cannabis is not a drug. It is, in fact, a medicine, as evidenced by copious amounts of scientific research. Doctors are stepping up and talking about the medical benefits of non-psychoactive cannabis, and of course, psychoactive infused cannabis, which means THC infused cannabis. It's not even infused; it's a natural byproduct of the plant. That's still popular. That's still out there. That's never going to go away. But I think that the next great thing when it comes to cannabis is going to be the CBD market. I think people who want to avail themselves of the science of the medicine don't want to get high. They just want to avail themselves of the medicine. Donnie G, all the way from Philadelphia, live via Skype. What say you?
Well, what I say is that I think it's very poignant of you to make that. It's very profound in regard to the fact that you hit the nail right on the head. We've had many discussions when we're not on air about this as we speak on a frequent basis. And CBD, it's a misnomer at this point. There's people that aren't educated as to, THC is what permeates the zeitgeist, if you will. And based on that, a lot of people don't have an appreciation for CBD. The entourage effect that has gotten weed or pot, I don't like to use marijuana as the word, as popular as it is now something that we can look back in our history as when we were younger and we started to smoke. The components of the pot or weed, I don't like to use the word marijuana for its racist connotation, but nonetheless, had a full effect, and it had CBD and THC in it. Today's medical cannabis is definitely more on the heavy on the THC side and low on the CBD side. That being said, there's definitely a market and a place for CBD where people can dial in the specific effects that it can give to you to help you through your day or night, whether that be anxiety or sleep and staying asleep.
Now, Don, I know that working in a retail storefront as you do, and in a city that is new to access to cannabis and CBDs, you fight against a Mount Everest of doubt and curiosity and trepidation. Tell us what it's like right there in the at the tip of the spear of the battle, educating people about cannabis and CBD as it relates to their health needs. Can you talk a little bit about that for me?
Sure. And I concur with you wholeheartedly regarding your description of what I'm up against. And whenever I go as a medical marijuana patient or medical cannabis patient to the dispensary, I let the bud tenders there know that I appreciate them fighting the good fight, as well as I'm doing the same thing. It's pretty much we're pretty much doing the same thing. We're presenting a medicine to the public who has been programmed to accept this earth medicine, the demonization of it, as the norm. The normalcy bias in that regard is that our first inclination is to go see a doctor. They write a prescription that none of us can read. We take it to CVS. They give us chemicals to put through our kidneys and liver that were never meant to be put there. And based on that, you'd think that the normalcy would be, the first inclination for people would be to do something holistic and natural, as opposed to going to someone and saying, hey, I trust these 4 guys at Pfizer, so I don't want to say any specific names, so I made up a combination there.
We get
it. Those 4 guys in that lab, or however many they are, that someone says, hey, these guys are the greatest, and let's trust them over what God left here for us, if you have that belief system.
So when it comes to CBD, though, again, sometimes I'm on the phone with you while you're like right there in the trenches in your storefront.
Correct.
Having to explain to people, no, there is no psychoactive impact. No, you're not going to get high. And I stand on the contingency that the next new wave of cannabis will be, in fact, the non-psychoactive elements of cannabis. When we say cannabis, ladies and gentlemen, we say that in the broadest sense of the term. We mean weed, we mean marijuana, we mean ganja, we mean that plant, hemp, that plant that you maybe tried in high school or college. Well, that same illegal plant is now, I think, 26 to 28, maybe 30 states strong, meaning it's becoming legalized and available to you now. But wait, there's more. There's this whole other element of the CBD properties of cannabis that are becoming more and more available to people and there's a greater movement towards awareness. Where are you going there, Don? You just can't get up and walk off screen like that. Anyway, so we'll fade him out for now. And if, ladies and gentlemen, you're still tuned in, you're tuned in to The Marijuologist, the world's only show that explores the global impact of cannabis. I'm your humble host and moderator, Richard Carr. Joining us live via Skype, we've got Donnie G, who is our resident CBD expert. And I'll mind you, Don, you are on camera, so you just can't get up and walk off camera like that.
We apologize for that, but
That's
there was
all
someone at the front door and just couldn't let him stand.
Shoot him or tell him to go away. Anyway, that said, that's a private joke between Don and I. Donald Trump, that is. And, you know, Don can go down on Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and not lose a vote. Let's just be real about that, right? Is that right, Don? Is that still true?
That's completely incorrect.
Or
I'm not running for any office.
This is the wrong Donald?
And trust me, I'm not orange, despite what the camera might.
All right, portray. Anyway, Donnie G, live via Skype from Philadelphia. Pennsylvania has been legal for how long now, Donnie?
For medical?
Yes.
For medical, it has been about 1.5 to 2 years, and
For CBD?
For CBD, about the same. I think when the Farmers Act, the Farm Growers Act for CBD went through, which allows farmers in all 50 states to grow CBD legally. I believe that's when it happened, but don't quote me on that, guys. But
I got you. And
it's legal now, and we're very happy that it is.
And again, knowing that you are right there on the front line of education when it comes to CBD, and for that matter, cannabis, what's the response in Philadelphia, in your region of the country, in Pennsylvania, but Philadelphia in particular? What's the response when it comes to CBD? Again, we know there's a lot of trepidation and fear about it.
Well, I think it ranges from elation from those who are benefiting from it, who come back as repeat customers, to those who are skeptical and have trepidation based on the demonization. And so even though I have a few individuals who may come into the store and they'll be cognizant of the fact that CBD does not have any psychoactive component to it, but then they'll ask me something as, I guess, uninformed as, does it really work?
Let's talk about that, because I hear that at times when I call you up at work, you have customers who come through and want to talk about the medical efficacy of CBDs. Let's talk a little bit about that. How effective is it? And when is it effective and where?
I say that if you are an individual who has utilized cannabis with THC in it before and had efficacy and felt that it really worked for you, like you felt not just quote unquote high, the psychoactive component, but you felt some body effect as well. CBD is that and more.
Okay, so you don't get high. And
No.
I contend that there is a mainstream of people out there who want to avail themselves, again, of the medical properties, but who don't want to get high. I mean, thus the invention of, and the marketing of near beer and alcohol-free wine. There's a market for that, and so there's a market for the medicinal side of cannabis, and even at the artisanal level of cannabis, so that there are businesses and opportunities for individuals and small entrepreneurs to get into that market and do the work, do the research, do the science, and develop different CBD extracts that people are going to want to take advantage of as the science comes out about medical cannabis itself. Now, aside from that, though, again, I go back to the fact that there is a mainstream of Americans who may have had a bad trip with cannabis, and I don't know how that works. I've always had a good trip with cannabis, but some people don't quite get the sensation, don't quite understand the high. So the psychoactive parts, that doesn't work for them. But again, getting back to that medical piece, that's essential right now. And everybody talks about big pharma. I believe there'll always be an opportunity for artisanal level extracts and CBDs. But as you fight against the ignorance that you face in a city that's only a year or two into cannabis legalization, how hard is it to convince people that it is effective? We talk about efficacy. Some people don't know what that word means. That basically means it's effective. It applies to what you need for your specific malady. So let's talk a little bit about the difficulty in conveying that to people there in Philadelphia.
Well, the only way to really counter that is through education. But most people, those who are skeptical, come in and they ask, does it really work? And I'm like, well, first of all,
does it really work, Don?
Let's just look at this from a common sense standpoint. If I was selling snake oil that didn't work and had no efficacy, I couldn't be in business long.
That's a good point.
Most people would buy it once and they wouldn't return. So that's not a good business plan. So that pretty much dispels that aspect of it.
Good point.
The other aspect of it is the fact that, scientific studies, Harvard studies, and speaking to what you had said earlier regarding the pharmaceutical industry, they have now developed a product.
There are lots of cannabidiol extracts that are coming out from Big Pharma. And I know there are lots of people who have major concerns about that. But I always say, as the Honorable Robert Nesta Marley say, fear not for atomic energy, because none of them can stop the time.
Can't stop the time.
Right. So I think that applies to cannabis. It is a plant, and there will always be an opportunity for folks out there. But anyway, back to your point.
The strongest scientific evidence is for its effectiveness in treating some of the cruelest childhood epilepsy syndromes, such as some things that I can't pronounce right now, which typically don't respond to anti-seizure medications. So in numerous studies, CBD was able to reduce the number of seizures, and in some cases it was able to stop them altogether. Videos of these effects are quite evident and readily available for viewing on YouTube. And based on that, there's just so much evidence out there that dispels anyone having any fear or reason to not try this. There's non-psychoactive, non-addictive, no side effects,
no overdoses,
no overdoses,
OD, right?
No one's out, no mortality rate based on it. So why is society acting as if they're legislating morality to us when it's not? That's not the case. If you can't statistically show me where it has any detriment to society or individuals at large, then based on that, you have to look at it and say it's not harmful. Let's stop all these regulations. Let's stop all of these falsehoods of saying it's bad. If you want to demonize something, demonize opioids, demonize alcohol, demonize cigarettes. But it seems like bizarro world, because the first thing we should be doing is taking a look at this from just that standpoint, the data that we have, the compiled data that we have, and looking at that and objectively and saying, hey, these things hurt people and yet they're legal, and here's something that doesn't hurt people and yet there's a push against it.
Hard to understand in modern society that there is still this demonization of this simple yet powerful plant, this sacrament to many. Let's keep it real. It's a sacrament to many. Hard to understand that after all these years, that still applies. But that said, Don, I'm going to take us to a break real quick. and ask you to hold on the line as I await my co-host. He's stuck in traffic right now, Ecor the Wolf, and our special in-studio guest tonight, the founder and CEO of Vibration Frequency Studios, Mr. Michael Norville, will be joining us with 10 questions. And this is why I wanted you to join me here live via Skype tonight. 10 questions. Our topic tonight, you don't know weed. I hate to call it that, but some people do, but some people don't. And you don't know weed? Well, you better tune in tonight for this episode of The Marijuanologist. Donnie G, our CBD expert, all the way live from Philadelphia via Skype. Go ahead, Don. Take us to the break.
I apologize. I unfortunately have conditions around me that I can't control. So you may hear some children screaming in the background that are playing outside. But
That's all right. That's all right. We love to hear that, in fact.
Okay, great. I
Nothing wrong
love to
with
hear
that.
children. I love to hear children too. I just
Right.
wanted to let you know that I don't have any control over that aspect of it if you hear that. So
We like the organic nature of where you're coming from. You're taking me back to my hometown, Philadelphia, man. We love it.
that's right. That's right. So that being said, my shout out to Ecor the Wolf. I hope he gets there safely.
He's on his way.
No, he's he's caught in traffic. So here's my shout out. There you go, Ecor.
Ladies
we'll
and
talk to
gentlemen,
you soon.
you're tuned into The Marijuanologist, tonight's live episode with Donnie G, all the way from Philadelphia, IA. And my esteemed colleague, Ecor the Wolf, will be joining us shortly. Michael Norville is in the house. You don't know weed. You don't know weed. Stop fronting. And we're about to educate you tonight. You're going to learn tonight. So stay tuned to another live episode of The Marijuanologist. I'm your humble host, Richard Carr. Donnie G, mute your sound. We'll be right back after these quick commercial break, followed by a cannabis-infused musical moment sponsored by Donnie G tonight. So stay tuned for that. Don't go away. The Marijuanologist. Be right back. Tuned into Vibration Frequency. That's vibrationfrequency.com. Follow, like, and share at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Vibration Frequency. Feel the vibe.
Yo, what up, though? This is your man, Ecor the Wolf, host of The Marijuanologist, inviting you to tune in every Friday, 4:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vibration Frequency Network at vibrationfrequency.com. This is where we cover the global impact and efficacy of cannabis. That's The Marijuanologist on the Vibration Frequency Network every Friday, 4:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you there. What up, though? This is Ecor the Wolf, host of The Wolf's Den. Tune in every first Friday of the month, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vibration Frequency Network at vibrationfrequency.com.
Sun's peeking through my curtain. Gotta get up out of bed. It's a wake and bacon Monday. Early morning, change your head. I reach over for my blood stash. I pop open the vial. I reach into my vial. There's nothing there in my vial. I'm contemplating, was I high and smoked up on my shit? Then was I stoned and smoked it all without not knowing it? I hop up quick, I sit and think. 1 blunt, 2 blunts, or was it 3? Can't remember if I smoked it all with company. Gotta admit the memory ain't nothing what it used to be. Oh well, that's me, I need some weed. Can't hit the shop, it's too early. Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you you up and not leave enough.
If an emergency happened or something like that, the only thing I'm packing is food in a sack. Cause it's mandatory that I gotta be stoned. Like Ice Cube said, once again it's on. It's a fucked up feeling when you're California fiending. If you smoke bud, you know exactly what I'm meaning. Open up your drawer and you trip cause it's empty. But the night before you could've swore you had plenty. With no connects and don't know what to do. So you try to drink a 40 as a substitute. But it doesn't feel the same as that Mary Jane. Creeping up real slow, marinating my brain. And I've been at the bottom feeling just like a peasant. Saving all my roaches and scraping up my resin. I smoke so much weed that I sweat THC. A day without herb, I can never let it be.
Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up and not leave enough? Oh, I was over at acetone. Damn, it must have slipped my head. Instead of packing like a pack rat, I was packing like a fat cat instead. Can't believe I did it once again. A fucked up habit that I got. I always do it to myself. I'm always smoking on my pot. I got no options, I could call a weedman from the streets. But it's a Monday and it's 6 a.m. before his peak. That's fucking weak, I need some weed. A long morning, THC free. I can't believe I got no marijuana for my brain. I always do this cause Anita Blunt's my fucking name. I need to go at 10 a.m. I pull up to the front, guess what? They're open. Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up? Oh, why did I smoke you up, smoke you up and not leave enough? Smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up, smoke you up. Smoke you up, smoke you up and not leave enough. Yes, gracias, pa.
It's time to get crunk. Why don't you go and light that shit up? Break it down, roll it up and spark that shit. 1 puff, 2 puff, 3 puff lit. Smoke that OG kush. Mix it with some kefir, make that shit gush. Keep it flowing, blow your soap into the air. And let it sit in the atmosphere. Now let's turn it up a notch. Keep on smoking cause the party don't stop. Come and elevate your mind, come and get with this. It tastes so good with just one hit. Now the whole room smelling like skunk. Ooh, this newbie we call it funk. Mastermind is hot in this week, come and get with me. All day's happy hour when it's smoking trees. I bust that switch shut down. Then I go and take the dirty guts out. Then I stuff my blunt with some green, mix my moon rocks in. I got what you need to make your whole head spin. Now I'm floating in outer space. Come get a glimpse, get another taste. Got that green, that gas, that dope, that weed. Any kind of ganja, I got what you need.
Roll it up, light it up, pass the blunt, can't get enough. Roll it up, light it up, pass the blunt, can't get enough. Pass that digit to the left, that perk make you feel in yourself, make you boogie all damn night, cause that Mary Jane is right. Pass that dirty to the left, that perk make you feel in yourself, make you boogie all damn night, cause that Mary Jane is right.
We got that fire, fire, to take you higher, higher. The type of weed that don't expire. Cheech and Chong, no Richard Pryor. We got that fire, fire, to take you higher, higher. The type of weed that don't expire. Cheech and Chong, no Richard Pryor. that skunk, that fire, that green. Combine the music and the weed indeed. We got the choke, yes indeed. The beat to match the blunt, ooh wee. It's about time we get started. 420, don't be tardy to the party. Bring your ass, bring your cash, bring your bong loads. Take a toke to your choke, grab a stronghold. Let's get it crackin', crackin'. That berry Dutch we packin'. With them fat nuggets. Come get a taste, you'll love it. It's about time we get started. 420, don't be tardy to the party. Bring your cash, bring your ass, bring your bong loads. Grab a hold to your choke, grab a stronghold. Roll it up, light it up, pass the blunt, can't get enough. Roll it up, light it up, pass the blunt, can't get enough. Pass that digit to the left, that perk make you feel in yourself, make you boogie all damn night, cause that Mary Jane is right. Pass that digit to the left, that perk make you feel in yourself, make you boogie all damn night, cause that Mary Jane is right. It's time
Roll
to get
it
cool.
up.
Why don't you go and light
I
that
bowl
shit
it up.
Break it down, roll
I like to bowl it,
and
y'all.
squirt that shit. 1 puff, 2 puff, 3 puff, lit.
And I just did. Hold on one second.
Mix it with some Keef
I had to
and
cough
make that
off
shit
camera.
push. Keep it
Indeed.
from the goat,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back tonight to tonight's live episode of The Marijuologist,
It's time to get
the only show that gets to the very root of the medical cannabis movement throughout the globe.
up and spark that
Joining me live on the line tonight, all the way from Philadelphia via Skype, my good friend, Donnie G. Donnie, welcome back to the show, and welcome to the Cannabis-Infused Musical Moment, sponsored by, tonight, we're going to give that to you, bro, Donnie G. And during that Cannabis-Infused Musical Moment, we featured the sounds of Anita Blunt. I love her, Anita Blunt. Love the name alone. And also a little something that we picked up from one of our good friends, who's a chef, in fact. But I'll give you the name now. Sammy.B.B. I think there's one more B with a dot. But Sammy B provided us that great song, Roll It Up. And prior to that, you heard Smoke You Up from Anita Blunt. All right, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Donnie, what do you think of that cannabis-infused music, man? It's all the rage now.
Yeah, I hate to do something to you on the what they used to call that thing way back in the day when we were younger. Geez, that Napster. Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to send that to me.
Okie dokie. That music is probably license free anyway, so you don't have to worry about getting
Awesome.
caught or busted or anything
Awesome.
like that.
That was just a little bit of levity there for your audience, but the reality is, I
Right.
thought the
We don't
music
steal
was-
music. We don't steal music. That's right.
was most appropriate. The music was most appropriate and very, very inspiring.
All right, so back to the issue at hand. You don't know weed is our topic tonight. You don't know weed. We're here discussing the whole spectrum of cannabis as it relates to people who indulge in cannabis, be it smoking, vaping, bowling, rolling. I don't know. You name it, we'll claim it, because cannabis in its full spectrum has yet to be explored. There are so many other aspects of this amazing plant, the cannabis plant, that we've yet to discover because of its oppression, its prohibition, let's just say. Again,
Well-
Donnie G, what do you say to that?
What I'd like to say is that it's time that everyone stood up and understand.
Everyone?
Everyone.
Or just patients and advocates?
Every human being, every mammal is born with an endocannabinoid system.
Wow. We've talked
So-
about that on the air before, yes.
So the root word cannabinoid, cannabidiol, THC, tetrahydrocannabinol, it's all in there. The root word is in there. So there's a symbiotic relationship whether people want to acknowledge it or not. And that being said, if anyone's out there in your audience that's skeptical, and I understand that going to a
let's
CBD.
talk about the skeptics.
Well, that's what I'm going to address right now. I'm going to give them an out right now. I'm going to give them, and I'm going to change a few lives right now on your show. I'm going to change a few lives right now on your show. Folks, I have no affiliation. I have absolutely no skin in the game. I have absolutely no investment. I don't have any stock in this company. But this right here, CBD squib. That's right, CBD squib. I don't know if you can see that or make it out.
Yes, we can.
Okay. This product right here, we don't even sell in my store. Okay, so that just lets you know about my unbiased testimonial right now. I've not only tried it, my wife has tried it. A good friend of mine came over the other day who has arthritis in his knees. Because he's been working in a labor field for over 30 years. And he tried a little wedge. This CBD squib comes in like a little round puck, if you will. And you cut a pie slice out of it. And within 3 to 5 minutes, he said, I don't feel any pain. And I could tell that it was like there was this feeling of disbelief in his face. He couldn't understand or fathom that what I just gave him made his pain go away that quickly. And he just texted me today because I had only given him half a squib. And he said, CBD squib, love it. So I don't know how much this is online, but it can't be too much. It's an edible. So based on the fact that it's an edible, in your audience, go out here, check it out. This really works. Once you see how well this works, then I suggest that you move on to vaping, CBD, or using an oil tincture underneath your tongue for even more efficacy and longevity in terms of how it relieves pain or any other symptoms. As a natural anti-inflammatory, most of the maladies that people suffer from are based on inflammation and free radicals.
Inflammatory disease, NSAIDs.
Neuropathy, whether it's neuropathy pain, whether it's cancer, a lot of this stuff is coming, from inflammation. And based on that, if we have a natural anti-inflammatory, we're basically countering. That's a counterbalance that's bringing back homeostasis and balance and well-being to people. And to me, that's the high. To me, that's the high. Feeling no stress, no pain, based on what the average human being is being afflicted with and impacted with on a daily basis, bombarded with on a daily basis. This is something natural. I don't understand the hubbub. What's all the hubbub? I don't understand it.
I think all the hubbub is out there in Pennsylvania, because here in Los Angeles and throughout the state of the Golden State of California, that has been sorted out. There's no hubbub. There's no question. As you know, that in the Bay Area in particular, where the AIDS epidemic exploded at ground zero, cannabis was used most often for wasting disease and people who were suffering from some of the side effects of the drugs that were administered to AIDS patients.
Absolutely.
Right? It went on to be applied to folks in areas of or maladies of Parkinson's disease when the doctors had nothing else to offer. I've had that experience at a visceral level with a neighbor of mine whose father had become afflicted with Parkinson's. And he came to me one day because I had a show and, I like to, smoke cannabis. and said to me, "Hey, is there a way you can get me some in the form of a tincture?" We'll talk a little bit about that. We'll sidebar that momentarily. And I said, "Sure." He could. He was not willing to sign up to get a doctor's recommendation himself, and his father was too ill to do it himself. And he came to me, and I said, "I'll see what I can do." But unfortunately, his father passed away before he could avail himself of that medicine. As time went on, we're now realizing that for anxiety, for neuralgia, that includes menstrual cramps, for wasting disease, for people who suffer from insomnia, there are so many, when you talk about the spectrum of cannabis as a medicinal property, so many things we've been missing, quite frankly, all these years. In the years of prohibition, and mind you, when we think about cannabis, and I think what still remains, the vestiges of its stigma relate to the fact that it was demonized by the federal government and classified as a stage 1 drug, Schedule 1 drug. So the only access we've ever really had to cannabis, Don, and I wanted to talk to you about this and find out how you felt about this, is through smoking. It's through the burnt plant matter. No one had the opportunity to really explore the extracts and the derivatives and the distillates of this plant from the root to the toot, meaning from its root to its stalk, its hardy stalk that makes hemp. Not the same plant now, don't get me wrong. I get that. But from its hardy stalks to its beautiful leaves to its amazing medicinal buds, the only access we've ever had to cannabis has been through smoking a joint for decades. When you think about this, right?
Well, that's absolutely true. The extract is a new phenomenon. I mean, there are those who have done that for years through smashing nugs and getting rosin or resin from the plant. But most people, the majority of individuals are not doing that. They're getting the flower, the bud, and they are smoking it.
Right.
And unfortunately, what's unfortunate about that is that many of the cannabinoids and many of the chemicals that you want to ingest
are burnt off,
destroyed and go up in smoke, as it were. Shout out to Cheech and Chong.
Yep.
Based on that. So this is a smarter, more healthier way to ingest cannabis in all of its forms. So it's very exciting time. Very exciting time.
I think so because, again, I think one of the greater overarching messages that we can communicate to the mainstream out there, those of us who've been cannabis users, there's that category. Then there are those of us who found legal access to cannabis through the medicinal route. And now in many states, we're finding recreational access. Well, that's user access. That's the overarching element of cannabis, safe and legal cannabis access. Let's call it that, safe and legal cannabis access. The overarching element of it is, in fact, our user element, recreational, medicinal, or otherwise, that we have demonized a plant, more potent in its medicinal benefits than a tomato, a banana, broccoli. I mean, you name them, put them all together, squeeze them into a juice, smoke one J, you get all those properties. But let me put a bow on my point. I just want to, kind of bring this full circle. So through that process, we've only had the availability of the flower up until now. And it's a whole new world when you think about it. And the ability for us to avail ourselves of so many different derivatives of that plant. It's like George Washington Carver all over again with the peanut. Would you agree?
Yes, and I also stipulate, speaking to your earlier statement,
I
that
would like to ask you to turn that light back on because you've gotten a little dark.
okay, sure.
Yeah, if you could. That'll work. Yep, that's lovely.
So I'd like to stipulate that the same demonization that you referenced earlier that has permeated the psyche of our society is as indelible as the demonization of blacks in this country.
Whoa. And browns. And
Well,
browns.
people of color. All
of
people
color.
of color. That goes across the board. No one of color is exempt in that regard. So unless you can put a finger on racism and talk about from an all-encompassing standpoint and talk about the parameters of it, which I can't see, then where are the parameters of the demonization and how far and wide and rampant it has been ingrained in our society? And I witness it every day. Here's a legal plant extract, flour, and oil tincture that I sell in my establishment. And people are still coming in and acting as if there's either an illegal component, a psychoactive component, or something that they should be afraid of.
And we talked about this.
That speaks volumes regarding
to the ignorance and stigmatization of
the zeitgeist, the way people think about this medicine.
You know, that's a very poignant point because, again, for me living in Los Angeles, you living 3,000 miles away in Philadelphia, the way that Los Angeles and California natives relate to the plant is far different from how it's perceived back east in a city like yours, in a state established by William Penn, thus Pennsylvania, who was in fact a Quaker, who were in fact, heavy religionists and very, very morally guided by their doctrines and their indoctrinations. But now when you look at Pennsylvania, despite the fact that for eons cannabis has been available there, now we see legalization, at least on the medicinal side, and then the freeing of the plant through the derivative side, which are the CBDs. We always have new listeners, and as I hear you in your establishment explaining to people what CBD is, I'd like you, as our resident CBD expert, Donnie G, via Skype here on the Marijuologist, explain what CBD stands for and what is CBD. You don't know weed.
Well, quite frankly, you have me on that one because I don't know what it stands for yet. But no, it's cannabidiol, and cannabidiol is that component. That's what CBD stands for. That's the acronym CBD. All I can say is to everyone in your audience, if you use cannabis that is THC based, try CBD. You'll be amazed at how it zeroes in and focuses on part of your enjoyment center that you derive from smoking regular cannabis with THC. And if you're an individual who doesn't want to experience the psychoactive component of THC, then you can get all the medical components and benefits without having to be high, as it were. So why not? Again, everyone's born with an endocannabinoid system, and based on that, everyone can benefit. And I have elderly people come into my store. Some came in the other day. As a matter of fact, you and I were on the phone, and they were very skeptical. And they said, but somehow they fought their fears. And these were people that looked like they were in their 70s or 80s. And they came in on canes, both of them, husband and wife. And they said, you know what? We've been taking all these other medicines and we're tired of all the side effects and they don't work really well for us. And I said, well, they didn't work really well for me. And that's why I had to explore other avenues. And since this avenue is now legal, try it. Well, they came by a few days later and they were very pleased with how effective it was. And hey, CBD in any form, try it. What do you have to lose? That's what I tell anyone who's skeptical. What do you have to lose? You can't get hurt by it.
You're not going to get high. You're not going to trip out.
You're not going to
that
become
you can't come back from.
You're not going to become
an addict.
addicted.
You're not going to overdose.
Right. So where's the negative? There's pros and cons. There's pros and cons. The only negative of CBD and THC at this point in time in our society is that it's not something that you everywhere across the United States can have in your home or grow in your backyard or in your home. And that's a shame. And I hope that I'm still alive when finally people come together and demand from the people they elect.
Safe and legal access.
And say, hey, you know what? Let's forget about this ambiguity. Let's forget about left versus right. Let's forget about racism, politics, social orientation, religion, any of that. Let's all come together and say, hey, we all benefit from this. Let's stop it. And guess what? The tide which has been stemmed by pharmaceutical companies for so long, they know the genie has been let out of the bottle. They are aware of the fact that they can't put the genie back in the bottle, that the millions of dollars of legislation that they have used for years to keep cannabis illegal is now all gone, and their bottom line is being affected. So what's happening is these pharmaceutical companies are now coming out with their own CBD synthetic derivatives that they're trying to patent. And they've already come out with a few, and I could give you names, but that's not the point. It's letting you know that this is about money. This isn't about the FDA or society or government caring about our well-being, because if they did, they'd be giving us CBD for free. And CBD would be grown in the plains states of our country and would be not only a great crop for Americans that we could give, but we could sell it to countries overseas. But Europe for millennia, for not millennia, but for centuries, has been known to
All right, Don, that's a good place to take a break. Not a break per se, but take a moment out to acknowledge my esteemed colleague who has joined us here, fighting through the traffic of Los Angeles as you are wont to do out here. Let us welcome now my esteemed colleague, Eco the Wolf. He finally made it.
In the building. What up, though, Don G out there in Philly?
What's up, Eco? How you doing, the Wolf?
Oh, man, just chilling, man, out there battling this traffic, and my car had a situation, so I had to take care of that,
Understood. I'm so happy to see that you made it, and it's a pleasure to see you, man. I'm glad to see you. And I have to let you know that I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good.
He meant. Sure. I meant to tell you that he said that, Ecor, after hearing your platinum track. I'm good. I'm good.
Nice. Appreciate that.
Hey,
that's another dynamic of me. I'm an MC as well. Bars.
MC Ecor. I like that.
Ecor the Wolf.
All right, so that's it. Yeah, Ecor, what's going on with you, kid?
Man,
you finally made it, man. What happened?
Yeah, man. Like I said, I had some car situations, but our cars are our families, so we have to make sure we take care of our families because
Couldn't
our
leave
cars
your car, huh?
help it.
He's right down the block, in fact.
Yep. So I had to walk back up here and had to go take a minute to go rinse off because I got real sweaty out there. It was really hot. But I'm here, I'm freshened up, and I'm on the air, got my libations, and, there's a lot of things going on, too, because we've been speaking about CBD last week and this week, but this is the new way to go. A lot of companies are starting to bloom. Well, they've been blooming, but this is another rush that people are starting to, take a direction into as well, And speaking of that, as far as the dispensaries, it's been a lot of hits going on. I don't know if you know about this, Rich, and out here, John, it's been a lot of shutdowns, a lot of task force been going on. They've had warrants and everything out, over 1,000 warrants that they put out for the city of LA.
I did not know this.
Yeah, 1,000 warrants been put out for the city of LA. I watched one task force that went and did a hit one day. I watched that one. And it's crazy. That was out in Riverside, so they kind of cleared out everything. And the reason why, and you said something earlier, Don, that was important. When you spoke and said that it's about money, And see, they're getting ready to start making these big power moves right now with the government. So by them doing that, they're putting a crackdown. And politics, this is the season for politicians and politics as well. So they putting those laws out there and rushing everybody who all these illegal or so-called unlicensed facilities. They're going to shut them all down, and these particular facilities were the ones that were
some of the pioneers, no doubt.
That
right?
are pioneers. They've been helping the whole economy, the whole country, off the flower, and so they've been hitting. And so now they got a lot of people spooked because they don't know within 1,000 warrants, nobody knows who it is, and when they're going to come at that person. So everybody's kind of just chilling out on a level, to a certain degree. Everybody, because it's the unlicensed situation. But a lot of these people that are, if you ask me, they're not illegal because they're up, they're erected, they're visible. So it's not like that somebody's attempting to hide anything. But in the same token, it's still a fine line between the what is it, Rich? The sales license and everything, and tobacco license and all that kind of stuff.
Of course,
there's
a lot to be figured out
it's a fine
when it comes
line.
down to cannabis. With Los Angeles being the battleground, where the party started, where the fight started. I mean, this is ground zero when it comes down to what's going on with cannabis and how it really got legalized either through medical or through recreational. It happened here. It started in the Bay, trickled down. We still got the best cannabis produced worldwide. It is still the #1 cash crop of California.
Yes.
And Donnie and I were talking about the fact that throughout the globe, virtually everyone who has any experience with cannabis has started that experience through the smoking process.
Right.
And the reason I'm so keen on this whole concept of CBDs is because CBDs, for me, represent a whole new wave of mainstream accessibility of cannabis for people who don't necessarily want to get high. They just want to avail themselves of the medicinal properties that cannabis can provide.
They like pump faking, it's like the diet weed.
And I'm not mad at them.
It's diet weed,
Yeah,
Don. That's
I'm
what it
not mad
is.
at 'em.
It is CBD is diet weed, diet cannabis.
Let me ask you this question, Equal. Have you ever tried pure CBD in any form?
Yes, I have, and I enjoyed it.
In
I
what
smoked
form?
it. I smoked it. I did the oil, the tinctures.
Nice.
And when I smoked it, I smoked quite a bit of it as well, and it was pretty good, and it made me feel very light and good and upbeat. It made me feel, I don't really want to say it's psychological because I smoked the THC and I smoked the CBD, and it was like I felt what I felt, but it wasn't that particular next level when you get the psychoactive feel,
I'm trying. I showed this earlier on the show, and I don't have any skin in the game, Ecor, with this. But this is the CBD squib, and it looks like this.
Let's take a look. I'm going to come back to you.
It looks like that.
Okay.
And you're supposed to just cut a little pie piece out of it.
Okay.
So I'm going to show your audience right now. I'm going to cut a little pie piece out.
Okay.
And I'm going to take it. And they are going to witness me take it.
And I'm going to show them how to do my thing.
And I'm going to show them how to do my thing.
That looks nice.
That is the recommended piece that I should be taking that says on the package.
This is an edible? Okay, got you. And what is that called again?
CBD squib.
Okay, squib.
This is the cherry flavor.
Okay.
And man, it really works well.
No doubt. And see, a lot of people don't realize, man, because I heard you speaking earlier, a lot of people don't realize because they come in and still ask you the same question. And you got to say the same thing over and over and over. And because they see that flower sitting there, right? Because you do have the flower actually sitting there at your location, right?
That's correct.
So they see the flower, and then it just automatically, and it has a smell and everything. But they like, what is he going to do? Is he going to get me high? And that's the first thing they want to say. Is, I even get this question when I tell people about doing the oils. I'm sorry, not the oils, but doing the topicals and the salves and everything and the balms. And people ask me, but you got that THC stuff in there, right? I was 2 days ago, a woman asked me this, and I said, your skin is not going to get high. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, your skin will not be high, sweetheart.
When people start to understand the science, the actual chemical interactions between all these cannabinoids in the cannabis plant, I just took that CBD, and earlier I had medicated with something that I got from the dispensary, and I'm noticing physiological changes in my body right now.
Okay.
From just taking that CBD, my lower back pain is starting to go away. Now because the psychoactive component, my back pain was shut off from a different receptor.
Right.
So I was feeling less of that back pain from the psychoactive, but now I'm feeling less of that back pain from a body physical standpoint.
I get it.
So, I try to tell people all the time, give it a shot.
And then what about you will not overdose on CBD? You can always up the dosage. You will not people overdose from CBD. You will not even overdose from THC. You may get extremely high, but you can take some CBD to calm that right down and get you right back balanced. If you have a so-called hangover off of cannabis, all you have to do is administer some CBD, whether it be drops, tinctures, oils, candy, edibles, or the flower itself. Just take that, and it will balance you right back to your full state of where you want to be, where you don't want to feel like, oh my God, I can't wait to come down.
I concur with you wholeheartedly, because that's the effect that I was just speaking to.
Mm-hmm.
So that's exactly what I was referencing, and you hit the nail on the head, Ecor. Absolutely. I see you've got your finger well on the pulse of what's going on.
No doubt, man, because I had some buddies over 4 years ago who enlightened me. First of all, they taught me about the Rick Simpson oil. Well, I had actually heard about Rick Simpson oil before them, but they were the first ones that introduced it to me physically. And then rest in peace to my wife. She was dying, going through the cancer at the time. So he came down from my buddy came down from up north, and he brought me a little vial down, just about the size of what you had in that, what you just showed me in that edible can jar. And so he said, this probably going to last her like 28 days, And so he said, give her like a grain of rice. If she hasn't smoked before, I said, no, she's a smoker. She smoked plenty of trees with me. And he said, well, give her a grain of rice size. Or half a grain of rice. So I gave her a grain of rice. I couldn't wait to get home from the show. So I gave her a grain of rice size. And then I woke her up and I said, here, babe, take this. Because like I said, my buddy came down from Trinity County, which is Humboldt, Mendocino, and Trinity, which is called the Emerald Triangle. That's where they sell over 82% of cannabis over the country, rather, is from supply it from that country, that part of the country.
Right.
So
exactly.
They have nothing but acres and farms up there. And I went up there, it's beautiful. But he came down, was on the show with Rich and I, and or myself, and that's when he said, "Here, take this home. Give her a grain of rice size." I went home, woke her up, gave her a grain of rice size. He said, "I'm telling you right now, it's going to work soon as you're going to start seeing some reactions and results soon as she starts taking this." So I gave it to her, and she just chewed it. It took a while for it to dissolve. Then she woke up the next morning and came downstairs for breakfast and just went right to her chair and sat down and started eating breakfast. Now, mind you, she would normally get right to the front of her chair, and unlike you and me, we could just sit right down. But her brain tells her to turn around two series of turns before she sits down. That's when her brain calibrates to say, sit down, because she didn't trust to sit down when she got there, and she couldn't do it. So, and that was for a long time, she couldn't do that. And I gave her this Rick Simpson oil, and she went down the stairs, sat completely down in the chair without no hesitation, and started eating her breakfast, and then she didn't even realize what she was doing because she had been sitting down like that for years. So to her, it was like regular. But I'm like, no, it's that stuff you took, And then she said, well, give me some more after I eat. I gave her some more. She went to bed, woke back up for lunch, came back downstairs, did the same exact thing. Everybody was so amazed. They was like, oh, my God. I said, it's that stuff I gave her. And then after she ate her lunch, she went grabbed her fingernails and toenail polish and all that stuff and started doing her toes and fingernails. And she could not even do that because she shook so bad for months and months. And now she was able to do that off of the Rick Simpson oil. So I know for a fact that a living proof that works. Now, this is the catch to that. You have to be careful who you get your oils and, things like that from. Because my buddy made some real clean oil, Rick Simpson oil, and after we ran out, I went and got some more, and my lady had a bad reaction to it. So I wanted to definitely, I had learned my lesson, and I was taught at that moment, like, wow, you have to be careful who you get your products from because you never know how they're creating it, manufacturing it, but to know the knowledge of the Rick Simpson oil, and then where we are now, oh, man, I would have been able to probably save her, and she would have been here longer or still here right now if I would have had all these oils and CBDs that I have now. And so,
well, you know what, Eco, for championing that, say that word 3 times fast. I want to applaud you for what you did, not only for her and what you and Rick are doing to reach out to so many of your program.
No doubt. Been advocating ever since, even more, Ever since I've been out here helping to save lives, and
I wish I could have been able to give it to my mother. I wish I could have been able to give it to my father.
Exactly, but I've given it to my mother. You know what I'm saying? And she's alive still, 73 years old, so still going strong.
Nice, beautiful.
Yep. So I'm here to help save lives the best way we can with the CBD oils and give people the knowledge. But once we give out the knowledge, our job is done because it's up to the people after that. After we fed them, it's up to them to ingest it and digest it and move on with it. Because a lot of people are still nervous. They'll go right back to the hospital doctors and the white coats, like I say. Go right to the white coats.
That's my mother in the background. Beautiful. So I put on a marijuana just to honor her.
No doubt.
I'm helping to educate people.
No doubt.
And I'm helping with you guys. So I'm honored to join you on your program and help people find cures for their problems and have a better quality of life.
Shout out to Mama G in the building. Rest in peace. And rest in peace, Papa G. You there?
Thank you, brother.
All right, that'd be a great point for us to take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned in to tonight's live episode of The Marijuologist with our good friend Donnie G, all the way from Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Don, thank you so much, man. Don't go away, though, bro. We're going to take a break, bring you back. We've got some questions for you from the CEO and founder of Vibration Frequency Studios, Mr. Michael Norville.
In the building.
Joins us live right after the break. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go away. It's about to get real. We'll be right back.
Real.
The Marijuologist.
I look forward to it.
We'll be right back.
I have the munchies.
You're tuned in to Vibration Frequency, vibrationfrequency.com. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Vibration Frequency. Feel the vibe.
Yo, what up, though? This is your man, Nico the Wolf, host of the Marijuanologist, inviting you to tune in every Friday, 4:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vibration Frequency Network at vibrationfrequency.com. This is where we cover the global impact and efficacy of cannabis. That's the Marijuanologist on the Vibration Frequency Network every Friday, 4:20 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. See you there. What up, though? This is Nico the Wolf, host of the Wolf's Den. Tune in every first Friday of the month, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on the Vibration Frequency Network at vibrationfrequency.com.
And I say it's not okay. Them no one we smoke the herbs and water heights and free ourselves from pollution. All they want us to do is live in a confusion. Herbs man, you know system and a herbs man. Me prefer stay upon the straight and the narrow. Me nah go round no curve man. No. Upon the straight and the narrow, me nah go round no curve, man. No. Yes, I'm Mr. Bubba David. Yo, all the way from Jamaica Judgment Yard. DJ Laris, king for the thing, king for the thing. You know we got the music swinging from morning till night. Come on, it's real champion sound. Ash Babal. Woo.
Sting ding ding da ding ding why. This is Michael Rose and Alma Rose. Stand up, stand up, stand up, boy. Boy. Wind the herb. Smoke the candy weed.
Wind the herb. Smoke the Haitians.
Wind the herb. Smoke the candy weed.
Wind the herb. Smoke the Haitians. Of course, Mr. Officer, just come get a jar. The best marijuana herb selling, but yeah. Me father, me brother, me sister, me cousin, a start shit for me. We sell it by the pound and we sell it by the seed.
Roll me a splint, rub up a drum, we burn the chalice.
Yeah.
The only cure for glaucoma, I'm not telling you no rumor. Wind the herb, smoke the Haitians.
Wind the herb, smoke me cali weed.
Wind the herb, smoke the Haitians.
Wind the herb, smoke me weed. Let the fire burn and the chalice get hot. Bumbo clat, that's cliff you well fat. Remember me tell you that we the boom lick you on the spot. Remember me tell you that we the burn the throat like a bat.
There's a fire burning over yonder, and there's a fire getting out of control. When you check it out, there's a fire burning over yonder, and there's a fire getting out of control. Ding ding da da hoy. Wind the herb, smoke the cali weed.
Wind the herb, smoke the Haitians.
Wind the herb, smoke the cali weed.
Wind the herb, smoke the Haitians. Whoa. Babylon give me herb, but it never matter me. Them take it off the bus, come from Sente. Them take it off the boat, me they have plenty. But me no see no boy love herb like me.
In a Westmoreland,
In Italy,
in Orange Hill,
in Sicily,
the highest grade.
whoa,
You must penetrate.
whoa, yeah.
Wind the herb, smoke the
smoke all the weed.
Want the herb, smoke me Haitians.
Want the herb, smoke me weed.
Ja, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the world's only show, running 10 years and going. This is the one and only the Marijuana. Yeah, man, that's what we do.
In 10 years, it's just a baby.
Can't sing, but me will sing, seeing.
You know that, Rich? In 10 years, it's just a baby still.
Wow,
you know?
I know, like a 10-year-old is
10-year-old.
Really
What does the 10-year-old
that,
know?
Yeah, they're not that significant.
What does a 10-year-old know?
You
Like,
stupid baby. Anyway,
fifth
Don, where
grader.
are you, man? We've lost you on our Skype
grader.
screen. What's going on with you? Can you reconnect? Yeah, there we go.
We look
Now
like
got you
superheroes
back.
up here, huh? Nuggle
Yep.
superheroes.
All right, there we go. Look at that.
We look like Nuggle heroes.
I'm the only one who's not
Nuggle heroes.
out.
I like that. Nuggle heroes.
Yeah.
Nuggle rolls. No,
Shout to
I don't
Nuggle.
like Nuggle.
Can we get a shout for
I know.
Nuggle?
That's why I was just trying to play. I'm trying to
Can
play.
we get a
with
rousing round of applause for Nuggle?
Yes, shout out to Nuggle.
We love Nuggle. Hey, Don, download the app, why don't you?
What up, though? This is your...
Right. Don, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome back to the show, Donnie G, all the way from Philly.
Just flew right back in.
Indeed,
Come right back
indeed.
on the show. That
Right
quick.
back on the show.
That fast.
But wait, there's more. We
Michael
have a new guest who's joined us. He is the CEO and founder of this great network, Vibration Frequency. Download the vibe, feel the frequency is how I like to say it. And he's chomping at the
Feel
bit.
the vibe. Download the frequency.
That's what he
at
says.
Vibration Frequency.
Michael,
Let's
welcome
feel
to the Marijuana.
Let's feel it.
It
Tastes
tastes
great.
vibingly great.
Let's feel it.
Vibingly great.
All right. Anyway, calm down. Michael, welcome back to the show. All right.
Thank
one more
you, thank
time.
you.
Rousing round of applause, man.
Oh, no.
Not that one.
No, we don't need another one. Yeah. Right.
Another rousing. The other one was arousing. This one is just rousing. Huh?
Oh, okay.
All right, hold on now. We'll talk
Rousing,
about a rousing a little later in the
rousing.
show.
Okay.
Because there will be more great programming going on here at Vibration Frequency starting at 8 p.m. right here, 8 p.m. Pacific. Mike, you want to take a moment to talk about that real quick? What's coming up at 8 o'clock?
Well,
on your
actually, we
pay-per-view
have
channel?
a Yoni Tantra instructional demonstration massage. That will not be appearing on Vibration Frequency. That's in our private channel.
And that's going to be pay-per-view?
Yep,
folks
it's
who want to tune in.
pay-per-view. And
Right.
then we'll be putting in our subscription. So Absolute Tantra is Courtney's company, who's basically demonstrating the whole process. And we're really, the whole goal here is to identify that touch is powerful. We're not touching enough. We're not being tender enough. And from
That's true.
the response that women are getting, they're being unsatisfied.
From men.
Yeah.
If
So-
the yoni is not engorged, you're not satisfying
You're not
your
satisfying
woman.
your woman, man.
Coming up 8 p.m. tonight. Let's sell it, sell it,
I
sell
like
it.
that.
Sell it.
Well, that's what we're telling people.
I like that. That is so.
If the yoni
you
is not
know,
engorged, I'm not quite sure how to get that happening, but
engorged.
that's what they say.
Engorged.
You got to engorge the your yoni.
Yes.
So, ladies and gentlemen out there, tune in. And, Mike, you've got a link for them to go to. And also, you've got
Pay-per-view
an
link.
email blitz that's out there. Folks who want to watch that at 8 p.m. Pacific here
Yeah,
on
it's gonna be
Vibration
sexy.
Frequency, download the vibe, feel the frequency to me. But he downloads the frequency and feels the
feels the
vibe.
vibe.
So, Mike, you got a Eventbrite.
Feel the vibe.
And-
Download the frequency,
Yeah, there you go.
Vibration Frequency. If you go to the Facebook page, Mind, Booty, and Soul, you have all of that information there. If you go to Absolute Tantra on Instagram, you got all those clicks that allows you to get to the live event, which is still going on, will be going on at 7 p.m. And then you can also
7
take
or
7
8?
p.m. or
I've been
8?
saying 8.
well, 7 p.m. is
the
you
gathering
know,
time.
People getting here, probably people start talking about 7:30.
Start airing it.
And then the demonstration will probably be conducted somewhere around 8.
Start air at
8:15-ish,
8:15.
So yeah, it's the whole process. We got a live part of it, and then we've got what's going to be taped part of it. So the goal here is that education. Online education is the future. I've learned a tremendous amount. I'm still applying a lot of the things I learned online by cutting the cable. I actually took control of programming myself and watching what goes into the portals, meaning the ears, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. and the sexual portals as well. They're openings as well.
All the orifices.
Yeah. So
7 p.m. tonight,
yes.
right? Give us the title once again.
Tantra and Yoni massage.
Starts at 7. That's when the foreplay starts. 8 p.m. is when it all goes down.
Yes.
Foreplay at 7. Goes down at 8.
Well,
anyway.
according to Courtney, that's how the
that's
yoni
how it
gets
works.
engorged.
There you go. All right. So
With the foreplay, the anticipation,
it's all mental.
the squirting. When she says that, I just saw like
Squirting?
Yeah, squirting
To
sensation.
all you squirters out there that
No,
are
I
watching.
was thinking like an orange is so moist.
all right, hold on now.
That sounds almost a little too erotic. Squirt.
Rein it back, gentlemen. That starts at 7. The foreplay starts at 7. It goes down at 8.
Forgive me for eating.
There's a pay-per-view access to it. Of course, Mike is going to share that with us before we wrap out the show tonight. Now, Michael Norville has been a guest on our show before. We have talked quite often about some of those burning questions, pardon the pun, burning questions that he has about cannabis. They're percolating in his brain as I speak, at least. Your mic is hot. Mike, calm down. And we want to present some of those burning questions. And in case, Michael, you have forgotten some of those questions, I can pull them up. And we'll start with some of those questions. We have my man Donnie G, all the way live from Philadelphia via Skype, my esteemed colleague and co-producer, co-host of this show, Ecor the Wolf.
No doubt.
And your humble host and moderator, Richard Carr. We have a full panel tonight.
So I got I got a question.
You want to start?
Yeah.
Let's get it going.
Okay, so is Monsanto out of weed? I mean, is that a guarantee? Because Monsanto is in everything. You just hear the wines got invaded. I don't know how true that is, but I'm concerned about,
wow, that's a good information right there.
I'm concerned about the stock. I mean, I think as I move forward, the little man shines so bright, and the little man's expertise is something that that's going to be desperately needed, and I need to gain more access and start becoming more educated on how I can start utilizing the cannabis by my hands myself.
All right. So you also posed some questions to Ecor and I before the show, and we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
8.
6, 7, 8. We'll give
This
you
man
9.
knows his thing.
We'll give you 9 and number 10, the magic number 10.
Number 10.
That'll pop up later on in this discourse. So let's start with one of the first questions, and I want to pose this to you, Donnie G, via Skype, live from Philadelphia. He is our resident CBD expert. Donnie G.
MBA of CBD.
How many different ways can you get high from cannabis?
There's only one way that I'm aware of, and that's the right way.
Good answer.
That's a fancy answer, but
And
can
the
you
right way is
Thank you.
Just do it. It's just do it. It's it. Just do it.
Just smoke it.
Oh, no.
Just do it. All right.
No.
Moving on. How, Donnie G, Ecor the Wolf,
Yes.
how do you extract oil from cannabis?
Okay. Oh.
There are a few different ways, and one is butane, BHO. The other is CO2,
CO2.
which is my preferred method. Liquid live resin, which is like actually just squeezing all of the juices out of the plant through pressure and heat.
Right, they have machines for that as well. These pressure machines that you put up like probably a pound at least.
That's right, the Nug Smasher. It's called the Nug Smasher.
Right, and then they just press, and it just sits on for, it's a timer, and they time it, and it just presses and presses and presses, and it just leaks out all the oil. Then they create like shatters and crumble and the waxes and the tinctures and oils from that.
And which one's the most healthiest?
They're all the healthy. They are
Well,
The butane's healthy?
No, CO2. The CO2 would be
the
more.
situation is this.
CO2 would be more healthier.
If you are going to burn combust any material, you're going to create carcinogens and toxins that are going to be ingested into your lungs. And even though no one has ever died or gotten cancer from smoking cannabis, it's healthier to either vaporize it, which doesn't cause combustion, or ingest it as a tincture, or ingest it as an edible. And all of these can be done with THC or CBD.
Mm-hmm. All right, we're going to move on. We'll probably
And
have to
that's
circle
where I'm
back
at.
to some of these answers. But Donnie G and Ecor, and I'll speak for myself if you guys ever let me get in to say a word in edgewise, is cannabis an aphrodisiac?
Well, I think so.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Me too. That's
yes, it
why I
is.
asked the question.
Because cannabis, for one, we have
How
all
so?
for one, we have all the different senses that God blesses with, and then by us having the cannabinoid receptors throughout our body, and once we ingest the cannabis, whatever way we do, you do it, it hits all those receptors and it heightens all those like the sexual desires and your mental acuity, all that gets heightened. So it's going to take you to a euphoric place. Just off the THC alone,
Michael Norville, we know that you are here to learn and educate folks like yourself who are relatively new to some of the many iterations of cannabis as it's evolved here in a new legal society here in California and
They're
throughout
having
the
loops
state.
now.
Right. So that said, what's your experience with cannabis and aphrodisia? Have you had some experience where cannabis has made you randy?
Well,
Sorry.
it was my go-to, bread and butter go-to.
Say word.
Almost every time I would have sex, I would, get high.
All right.
And so, over time, what ended up happening, I took time off from smoking. I took about 6 years off. And
Sucks to be you.
And then I started noticing my drive was a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
My consistency wasn't as potent. And, I was also probably the worst shape in my life at the time, too.
Right.
So
What age was this?
This is like early 40s.
Wow.
I'm going through that late 30s, early 40 transition. And I haven't been really working out for a couple years. So, I noticed that when I didn't have it, it made a difference. But then, once I took time off and then started to develop other techniques and started to get back on it again, I noticed a difference now, but it's not something that I have to have anymore. It's more like, it's a moment. And that's where I'm at now with the tinctures.
Right.
I don't really like to smoke that much anymore.
I love to smoke.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I really do.
I'm trying to get rid of smoking.
I love to smoke until my body said, "Hey, man, you can't do that no more, man."
Yeah.
Then other than that, I just like the
immediate.
The immediate. I like the process.
The ritual of it.
I like to break it down. I like to roll it. I like to share it with people. The passing back and forth. It's communal.
The ritualistic aspect.
Very ritualistic. Tribalistic.
Yeah.
So
I get it,
and that's what I love. Even if I'm by myself. Just kick back watching me some TV, or just I might be on the computer, or studying, researching, whatever. And just got my trees, shaving my hair, my head rather. I have a lady friend.
Big ups to you, Ecor, on your knowledge. Big ups to you on your knowledge and your vigilance.
Yours too, brother. You too.
Of trying to actually just digest as much as you possibly can, so you can speak on this and illuminate and articulate on it in a way that gets people on your program to open up and understand the benefits. It's just so hard for us to fight against the programming that we've had to endure for so many years. I applaud you on that, brother.
Thanks a lot.
All right.
And I applaud you too. But I was saying, as far as the sexual aspect, I have a lady friend. She always says, I like the sexy weed. She calls it sexy weed. You know what I mean? Because she says it's a certain kind that you have. It's a sexy one. I think it's the OG, because she said it just makes me feel very, relaxed and
Call it
and,
green Viagra.
And
Let's
she's
keep
like, it makes me
real,
feel
yeah.
sexual and sexy, so she calls it sexy weed. She's always like, make sure you get some of that sexy weed. So if you're watching out there, shout out to my sexy weed lady. You dig?
Shanks ain't
My
Right,
sexy
right.
weed lady. She's
Speaking
sexy too.
speaking on that, I'm just gonna jump in real quick if I can and let you know that is absolutely 100% validated by a company out in California that we carry at Deep Six, which is called Cali FX. Cali FX.
Yeah, I think I heard of them.
They have a
Cinematic
tincture
Swamp.
line that just came out that now goes along and accentuates their vape line. And in their vape line, they have sex, going back to what you were just talking about. That's one of their brands, is sex. Another is endurance. Another is pain relief. Another is social anxiety, and so on and so forth. So I have tried a few of them, and sex was one of them. And it definitely raises your libido and makes you more inclined to want to have sex. So they've been able to actually break down the specific cannabinoid terpene profiles to be able to evoke certain feelings or states out of individuals who ingest these through vaping or tinctures. So smoking, the ritualistic aspect, boy, I have to say, I miss it, but I don't. Because when I'm doing an 82% concentrate of THC,
that's taking you to the moon.
In a vape pen,
It's taking you to the moon.
it's taking me where I need to go immediately. There's limited smoke. There's no ashes falling on my
Your good
shirt,
clothes.
and I don't need wraps, and I don't need a lighter. So it's much more expedient. It's much more confined and covert, if you will, and more effective at the same time.
Well, that leads me to my next question, because I've noticed that the vapes over time seem to be a little bit more, I don't know, stronger. Like it's not as smooth. I used to love vapes just for all those reasons that you mentioned, but now I cough. I don't get as high, potent. It's just I had to leave them alone.
So you think that there's some? You think they're toxic? Do you think that they're?
I don't know. Is it me, or is it the some of the ingredients have changed?
Good question.
Where were you getting the particular vape cartridges from?
Dispensary, and I was getting that diamond one. I was always into that brand.
This is back in what year, though? Would you say?
Oh, I've been getting that diamond one since 2012, and then
Okay.
now, and then the Cadillac one, the with the Latino guys. It's probably one of the bigger known brands.
Okay.
And because it didn't leak, because there was a while where some of them were leaking.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I haven't been satisfied with vapes, so I started doing flowers again, and just try to limit my flowers.
So, Don, if I could jump in, Richard Carr, the moderator, let's talk about what's in those vapes, because we do know that the distillates and derivatives of cannabis that can be extracted out to a smokable form has to be, by nature and chemistry, suspended in some type of oil. What's in that oil? Let's be very transparent here. We know that when you buy a vape and you see that little brown or amber oil in that vape, that's not all THC or pure cannabis oil.
Not.
It is in fact suspended in what?
Right. Sometimes polyglycol, I think, is the vegetable oil or something like that of that nature. Sometimes hemp oil or something seed oil, like coconut oil as well. So it all depends. And sometimes
Alcohol.
people will have a bad reaction, just like Ecor had referenced earlier when he said that the second batch of Rick Simpson oil from a different supplier, and there was a bad reaction to that. So you never know. It could be, depending upon what it is suspended in, that polyglycol, and that could be pronouncing that incorrectly. But all you gotta do is go on Google.
Don't forget about the isopropyl alcohol that's used as well.
Well, I actually haven't heard of that, and I hope that's not the case. That's why it really has to be vetted. You have to be careful
who you get your product from.
The people in the street who are now basically just going to their plug and saying, "Hey, you got carts? What? Okay, let me get a cart."
And then they give you some fake carts too with the fake labels on there.
Yeah, and they're cheaper, and they're supposedly cheaper than the dispensary, what have you. But again, we have to understand that whoever is selling this, they don't really care about our well-being. They're in this for a buck.
You can go to dispensaries and they don't care about your well-being.
Rumors that some people have actually tried to stretch some of this stuff with antifreeze.
Oh, hell no.
You have to be extremely careful and vet the source. And somebody mentioned Monsanto earlier. I said, did we need to call him a priest for an exorcism? Because Lord knows they're hurting the planet. But the reality is Monsanto would next be making it illegal. They're probably one of the people spending a lot of money to make sure that you can't grow in your basement.
They wanted to have They wanted to have a hold on all the seeds. But I was like, how are you going to even do that? That's impossible. That means you got to go talk to God.
That's right.
If you think you're going to control all the population of seeds for cannabis, you got to be freaking out your damn mind.
It's absurd. And you know that Monsanto has actually sued neighboring farmers who had nothing to do with their crops. And when Monsanto got a court order to test the crops of their neighboring farmers, that cross-pollination had occurred through bees, birds, and wind. Right. And Monsanto actually sued those people, saying that that those farmers had stolen their genetic material. So how could they have prevented it without building a dome over their farm? So if Monsanto uses those type of insidious, nefarious tactics to be able to then buy the farmland from the farmer who they took to court, who can't afford the legal fees, now they've been able to acquire that farmer's land through just taking them to court through some erroneous accusations that come up through their control scheme. So I really have issues with them as a company, and also I don't use Roundup. Watch out.
Exactly. I knew two people that work for Monsanto, and they no longer. They said they like, you know what? I'm out of here. Out of here.
A friend of mine is a dentist, and he has a friend who works at Monsanto, and we were all at a party, and he introduced himself as some big Monsanto bigwig or executive.
Man, they probably said, "Get your ass out of here."
I told him I wasn't impressed.
Exactly.
Straight up. I told him I wasn't impressed, and he saw that I was woke.
Listen, when I asked one of my people that I knew about it, they was like, they just shook their head. You know what I'm saying? Shook their head. I was like, wow.
Well, discuss.
We have to acknowledge that there, in fact, is some good stuff that Monsanto has done.
Like?
That check is in the mail.
Okay, eat all this processed food. Okay, you to eat all this processed food.
Hold on.
Like, you can get cookies for $2.
It's okay to eat a 99-cent burger.
All right, so someone asked me the question. Someone asked me the question, like, I'll say cotton and how it was modernized.
Man, it's 50-50 now. It's cotton and coton.
We're not talking about your generation.
Let me say something. No, what they did was put a lot of blacks out of business.
Wait. I remember a commercial that went a little something like this. Monsanto, 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 Monsanto.
Never heard that commercial.
Oh, wow. I'll pull it up for you.
That sounds like a
off
bad
air.
dream.
No, yeah, it could have been, but the fact is,
I never heard that. Who made that? The Monsantos?
oh, okay,
Yeah, obviously.
of course the Monsantos made it.
Monsanto.
Sounds like
I'm
Ghost Speed
telling you,
Racer.
man.
Go
Yeah.
Monsanto.
Right, go
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Monsanto,
Like
go.
No, it said kill him, Monsanto. Kill him, Monsanto.
But the fact is, Monsanto has created products that have been beneficial to crops. When a company gets real big like that, nothing corrupts more than excess, And so you have a company that we, as people, inhabitants of this planet Earth, gave our lives to some degree or another and decided, you guys figure out the whole seed thing, man. I don't really have time to sort all these seeds. So, hey, what's your last name? Monsanto? Okay, go ahead, man. You go and sort all these seeds for us and just let us know where they're going to be. And at some point, the servant is your master.
Correct. So my question is, Monsanto can't do that without encroaching on the rights of every other human being.
Not encroaching, but in fact, appropriating the rights that we as citizens render unto Caesar or surrender to them.
So thanks for playing devil's advocate, but I say that they've done more harm than good.
And I say that the devil needs no advocate, brother. We just need to get more woke.
True.
You hear me? The devil
True.
don't need no advocate, brother. I am not one of him.
Well, I was just,
Of course,
I
they
was
don't
just
need
saying
them.
that
They out there
It's
with
a
them.
figure of speech, but I want to represent that to all of our tuners out there globally, that we are here to speak truth to you about what this cannabis movement is about and what it has meant to us as advocates, what it has meant to us as patients.
Well, do you understand?
Throughout our lives. Go ahead.
Do you understand that it has meant for me? I mean, the reason I'm speaking to you and your audience and Ecor and Mike and everyone there, if I have the name correct, I hope. But the fact of the matter is, the reason I'm speaking to you today is because I've been able to use medical marijuana and CBD. Without that, I'd probably be dead now from an overdose of opioids
God, I would hate it for you.
From just the despair that from my injuries from being hit by 2 drunk drivers in a 10-year period, and having back operation and the pain that I suffer from every day. If it weren't for medical marijuana and CBD, I probably would not be speaking with you today. It's It's been that impactful on my life.
Because not only that, Don, you also had to have a strong mind, with the blessing from God, to not succumb and be weak-minded. Because they'll tell you that, no, you're not addicted, you're dependent. You're just dependent on those pills, play on words.
All right, guys, look, so we got to do some real quick questions and get this wrapped out and put a bow on it. Why do you separate the male plants from the female plants? And is hemp the male plant? Real quick.
Well, you separate the male because you don't want to have all those seeds inside. You want the female to be strong and bud without any seeds. All it needs is the seed to grow it, right? So you want to get rid of all of those male seeds and keep that away from that female or else it becomes a farmer's pack where you still might have, because I have one right now as we speak, a farmer's pack where it's some top shelf strain grown very well, but it got seeded. That thing crept up in there and started having them babies born, just dropping them.
Wow. Okay.
So what they do is a farmer's pack, they would utilize that pack. This is what I learned. And, you can, you don't have, take my word for it or whatever, but this is what I heard from the farmers. A farmer's pack where they can just go ahead and pass it on to other farmers so they can be able to keep, the strain growing and utilize the seeds.
All right, let's get on to the next question because we've got to get this wrapped up. We've got another show that's going to get started in less than an hour. All right, now, do you ever see a day, gentlemen, the panel, when cannabis will become mainstream and you'll start seeing those commercials? cannabis. Are you anxious? Are you
Yes, you're going to see them.
not hungry?
You're going to see them. You know why? Because
do you have a headache?
Because
you
years
need cannabidiol maybe
exactly
something. Well, I mean, what you ever see that day
try
coming?
Mary Getz.
All right.
Know,
Donnie G, what do you say?
I say yes.
Synthetic replication. Synthetic replication is the only way they'll be able to effectively put that on make that available to the market based on the fact that you can't patent a plant. It's nature.
So you know how they do the Charmin commercials, all the toilet paper commercials?
Right.
You never see nobody really wiping their ass with those with the toilet paper. You know
I
what I'm saying?
hope not.
But they make all the right. But
see that.
But you know that's what it's for.
Right.
So they'll make commercials probably in the vein of that, where they're not gonna probably show nobody smoking. That's like just hey man, if you want to.
It's not going to be about the smoke. It's going to be about other delivery.
Exactly,
systems,
I get
though.
that, but
All right,
it's still, but you can't rule the flower out.
So
but if they have
2 years.
Wait.
No, if they have park benches and bus stops and billboards since 2009 that was saying, hey, got weed. All those commercials, remember those billboards saying got weed and all that. This is way back, and it was still
How about that?
single digit.
Before I got legal.
To single digit,
Right.
2009 or
Right.
2010, all that. So if they did that, people had their faces on there at the same time. And I
Got
know
weed?
I remember we met the lady and they gave us our Rex. Remember they got us our Rex free. The first time we ever got Rex, they gave them to us
Yeah.
for free. And they were on billboards and bus stop benches and everything. So if they had those out, most definitely the commercials are coming.
All right, Mike.
And I've seen some great cannabis commercials.
Mike, you had a question. Now you want to add to that?
No, that was basically it. When do you guys
Yeah,
see
how long
this
is it gonna take?
facilitating? 2 years, 5 years?
The commercials are here now.
I'm talking about where
mainstream.
you'll start seeing them on like
I
late night.
say like 3. Yeah, right. Late night. I say like maybe
Anytime.
About 3 more years.
3 more years.
3 to 5 more years, but maybe not that long. Like not 5, but
Okay.
maybe somewhere within 3 to 5.
All right, one last question, gentlemen on the panel. This is posed by Michael Norville, and we want to educate folks who are just getting started and just starting to explore. Will the little independent guy stay around in the era of big pharma? I believe is the question that Mike is posing tonight.
Most definitely.
Swing to you first, Donnie G out of Philadelphia. We know it's getting late there.
If we take a look at what how Walmart and Amazon have decimated the brick and mortar mom and pop shop, based on the subject of control that I wanted to speak on what Ecor had said earlier regarding the way the feds have come in and raided certain places and just used their overreach to basically oppress and suppress this. I don't see that the level of control until people of all denominations, races, creeds, colors, sexual orientations, political affiliations, whatever they may be, stand up as one and say enough. We no longer are going to allow you to relegate us to the pharmaceutical industrial complex. Until that happens, those individuals will have no choice but to be under the foot of big industry.
Okay, but check this out. This is what I say. My take on it, because all the small so-called mom and pop companies, whatever, they already have a head start before these big companies. The big companies got to come in and see if they're gonna make have to match what's going on out here now. They're not gonna come in, or else they got to come in and say, "Hey, we got something more powerful and better." Of course, they're gonna say that because that's marketing. But the small companies are already out and been moving and moving and moving. You see nothing but CBD and flower companies, and all these companies all through social media for the last 5-6 years. It's been that way. So it's going to probably end up being like the iTunes of CBD. You know how people say find me on iTunes with music? It's going to be a whole bunch of like companies like that. Like he said, Amazon and the I forgot the other name you said, Don, but they're going to be the Walmarts. They're going to be the vehicles for all of those particular. Then there's going to be newer companies coming up that are going to be like internet retail stores that are like a Walmart or whatever, because you're going to have some big CBD type company going to say, hey, boom, let's create this. Just like they got Lassens, and they have CBD lines all in Lassens, and they have their own brand, Lassens CBD, you know?
Really?
Yes. They have billboards.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much.
Mike, did we answer your questions?
Yes, you did.
You got to come back. You can see these are very complicated questions, and the answers are no less complicated. Donnie G, thank you very much, man, for joining us all the way live from Philadelphia. You and I will talk after this show. We probably need to do a Bill Maher-style YouTube program where we can talk after the show. But once again, man, thank you for joining us.
And again, I want to say this, Rick. I want to say this because I want to make a point. Now, like I said, we're not a stoner show, but as you see me having a blunt that I'm smoking on stage during the show, and it just goes to show you that how competent we still are. And you haven't seen me tweaking. You haven't seen me jumping around. I'm still here. I'm relaxed. This is what it's actually doing, relaxing me and having me in my third eye. You know, my pineal gland is opening, and I can absorb. I'm observing, and I'm speaking, and I'm not forgetting what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not like crazily high, but I'm feeling good, and I'm still professional.
Negate the hyperbole, propaganda, and all the lies.
All the lies, and here I am with a nice running show. You see what I'm saying? And I'm speaking very professionally, education. And there you have it, with a lighter and the tail of a smoking blunt in my hand. Now, judge me if you like. Or create your own show.
They can judge you, Equal.
Hey, they can't. Only God can.
That's right.
You did, because we are one.
Well, I have to say, gentlemen, to all of you, my applause and appreciation. What a show tonight. We need to continue to dial in on this topic more professionally as we move forward. Mike, once again, man, thank you for joining us. We know you got some stuff to do. We're going to get out of your way in a minute. Any last comments or questions? Anybody want to give out their contact information? Shouts to Nuggle. I see our
twins, Nuggle
twins, and Wardrobe has done you guys a very fair job. Hey, Wardrobe, you suck. I didn't get a T-shirt. But anyway,
shout out to Green Crosses.
Any last comments? Questions?
Shout out to Green Crosses. This show is sponsored by Green Crosses.
I'd like to say, Mike, it was a pleasure to be on the air with you today, and as well, Ecor and Rick. I look forward to doing it again in the future, and it's just been a pleasure. So thank you much.
No doubt.
We got to create a Don CBD corner. You know what I'm saying, for the section of the show. You know, we record those and then pop those up during some of our commercial breaks. And here's a message from Don from the CBD corner. You know.
All right, we're out of here, guys. Thanks for joining in.
But you keep striking, keep
we'll
fighting,
see you next time. Ladies and gentlemen, you are
with a little piece, life can
tuned
go a
into
long
the
way.
Marijuologist
So Wolf
here
is here to help pave the way with more
on
peace.
Vibration
We
Frequency.
already got war in our own streets from here
Ecor,
to the
take it
Middle
from
East
here.
and abroad, but I'm down for the cause. Been had my call of humanity. It's gonna take enemy to conquer this insanity. Tupac, rest in peace. Rep the belly of the beast with a Detroit state of mind. Elzai, and I ain't shy, cause I got love to spread. If love is my butter, then earth is my bread. Let's eat in peace like kings and queens. We feast and sing. Can we all just get along? R.I.P. Rodney King, Doc, Martin Luther. I'm still pushing your dream, cause we are what? One. You and I.
Together.
right, man.
We are one together. Bad storm. Like, stick in the move. Wait. Peace. Streets. Call. Humanity. Man in me. Insanity. Tupac. Rest in peace. Open beast. State of mind. Outside. Slum. Live spread. Bread. Yeah. Let's eat. Feast. Get along. Rock the king. I'm still pushing your dream.
We are one together.
Together. Yes.
You and I together.
Together.
Intertwined.
Intertwined. Together.
We are one together.
We are one. We are one together. Reach the streets. G-O-D.
You are tuned into Vibration Frequency. That's vibrationfrequency.com. Follow, like, and share at Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Vibration Frequency. Feel the vibe.